Let's talk about something that stresses way too many people out: debt. If you feel like you're drowning in payments, you're not alone. The good news, you don't have to spend decades paying off debt. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 powerful strategies that help you pay off debt fast without feeling like you're stuck in financial prison. Most people go about debt the wrong way, which is why they feel stuck. But if you follow these steps, you're going to see real progress faster than you think. Before we jump in, get a nice warm cup of tea. We are talking about something stressful. My name is Dr. Brad Klontz. I'm a financial psychologist, and I'm the world's leading expert in the psychology of money and wealth. You're not alone, and we're going to get through this together. I'm the national best-selling author of Start Thinking Rich, and I study why we do what we do when it comes to money, and more importantly, how to rewire our brains for wealth. If you finally want to get ahead, hit the like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now let's get into it. But one quick note, this video, like all my videos, are for educational purposes only. Don't consider this financial advice. Always do your own research and speak with a financial professional before making big financial decisions in your life. Now let's get into the 10 powerful strategies to tackle debt. Debt strategy number 1, change how you see debt. Most people think that debt is really just about money, but in reality, it's very psychological. Debt can trigger feelings of shame, feelings of stress, and even hopelessness. And when you're overwhelmed, your brain goes into fight, flight, freeze mode, and it's really tough to even think clearly, let alone do what you need to do. For example, have you ever ignored a credit card statement because you knew the number was bad and you didn't want to even see it? That avoidance is understandable, but it does keep people trapped. I also want you to know that it's extremely common, so you're not alone if you do that. This is where you need to start shifting your mindset and shift what you're saying to yourself. So instead of saying, "Oh, I'm drowning in debt," try, "I'm creating a plan to control my finances." Or, "I'm not bad at debt. Debt is something I can fix if I just know what to do." Your brain listens to the words you use. So talk to yourself like you're a problem solver, not a victim. So what's one negative thought you've had about debt? How can you reframe it? I'd love to hear about it. Drop it in the comments below. Debt strategy number 2, know exactly what you owe. Most people don't even know how much debt they really have, and you can't fix what you don't face. The biggest reason people stay stuck in debt: avoidance. Imagine that you have a messy closet, and instead of clearing it out, you just keep stuffing more and more things in it. Eventually, you're going to run out of space. And that's what happens when you ignore debt. So here's your first action step. I want you to spend 1 hour gathering information on all of your debt. I want you to write down the total balance of each debt, the interest rate on that debt. And this will be different for various credit cards, for example. And then lastly, your minimum payments on each one of those pieces of debt. It might feel overwhelming at first, but trust me, knowledge is power. And just by taking this step, you're going to be changing your life, because you can't really create a plan unless you see the entire picture. This is where we're going to shift from just hoping things get better to actually making them better. Now that you have a clear picture of your sources of debt and the interest rates and the minimum payments, it's time to move on to debt strategy number 3. Choose the right payoff strategy for you. There are 2 popular debt payoff methods, and which one you choose really does depend on how your brain is wired. There's the debt snowball method, which focuses on paying off the smallest debt first, no matter the interest rate. And then there's the debt avalanche method. And for this method, you focus on the highest interest debt first, which ultimately saves you the most money. But let's look at this through an example. Let's say you owe $500 on a store card with 15% interest, $2,000 on a credit card with 22% interest, and $10,000 in student loans at an interest rate of 6%. With Debt Snowball, you tackle the $500 debt first because it's the smallest. The reason you might do this is because quick wins can keep you motivated. So this is how you would put the Debt Snowball method to work in your own life. First, list out all your debts from the smallest balance to the largest balance. Then you're going to pay the minimum payment on all of those debts except for the smallest one. Then you're going to throw every extra dollar you have at that smallest debt. Once it's paid off, you will roll that payment into the next smallest debt. So let's go back to our example of your $500 debt, your $2,000 credit card debt, and your $10,000 in student loans. You're going to focus on crushing that $500 debt first. Then when that's paid off, you're going to move on to the $2,000 debt. And once you've tackled that, you're then going to move on to the $10,000 debt. This method works because seeing debts disappear can be extremely motivating and it feels great. With the debt avalanche method, you're going to tackle that $2,000 debt first because it's at the highest interest rate of 22%. That debt is costing you the most money in interest. And starting with that highest interest rate debt is going to save you the most money in the long run. So this is how you would implement it. First, you're going to list off your debts from highest to lowest interest rates. Then you're going to pay the minimum payments on all of those debts except for the one with the highest interest rate. You're going to put every extra dollar you have towards that high interest rate debt. And then once it's paid off, you're going to move to the next highest interest rate debt. So in our example, you're going to tackle that $2,000 credit card debt first because it's at 22% interest. And after you've paid that off, you're going to go after that $500 store credit debt at 15% interest. Then lastly, you're going to go after your student loan debt of $10,000 at 6% interest. Now, this is mathematically smarter, but progress can feel a little bit slower if the balance is large. Both of these methods have their pros and cons, and neither is right or wrong. It's about what keeps you motivated and keeps you moving towards that debt payoff. If seeing quick progress helps you stay motivated, try the debt snowball method. If saving the most money for your future matters most to you, go with the avalanche. You can also switch between the two methods as you go and as you gain confidence. This brings us to debt strategy number 4, automating your payments. If you're manually paying your debts off each month, you're making it much harder than it has to be. If you force yourself to have to remember each month to make your payments, there's a good chance life is going to get in the way. Have you ever meant to pay a bill, but you forgot? I have. And then you get hit with not only interest, but a late fee. It's a terrible experience, and that's where automation really pays off. And here's how you can set it up. It's so easy right now. First, log into your bank or your lender's website. Then you want to schedule automated payments for at least the minimum due. And if you can, of course, you want to add an extra fixed amount towards your focused debt. Even an extra $10 per payment can cut your interest and shorten that payoff timeline for you. But the great thing about this is you set it and forget it. Your future self will thank you. Debt strategy number 5, and this is a very important one. Stop adding new debt. You can't get out of debt if you keep digging the hole deeper. This seems obvious, but a lot of people continue to use their credit cards while they're trying to pay them off. That's really like trying to drain a bathtub while you still got the faucet on. So try this instead. Take your credit cards out of your wallet or out of your purse. Remove your saved payment methods from online retailers. And then go ahead and freeze your credit cards. Like quite literally, put that credit card in a cup of water and put it in the freezer. Doing this sort of thing adds friction, which is what you want. And when you have to go through several steps to get at that credit card, you're less likely to use it. It really helps you put some time in there so you can think. You can turn on your prefrontal cortex, think through the consequences of continuing to add on to that debt. Debt strategy number 6, find extra money without feeling deprived. Cutting out the lattes won't make you debt-free, but this will. Most debt payoff advice tells you to cut expenses. Cancel subscriptions, stop eating out, and say goodbye to every little treat in your life. But here's the truth. You can only cut so much. What if instead of just cutting back, you found extra money you could throw at your debt? The truth is, the fastest way to get out of debt isn't to shrink your lifestyle. It's to increase your income while keeping your expenses the same. Whether it's a side hustle or a bonus or a tax refund, every extra dollar you bring in would go straight towards your debt. And this will help you become debt-free much faster. So how do you find extra money without feeling like you're suffering? I've got 4 ideas for you. First, sell stuff you don't use. Look around your house. You probably have hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars of stuff just sitting there that you're not even using. These could be old clothes you never wear, used electronics like phones, tablets, or gaming systems, furniture, or other home decor that's just sitting there collecting dust. List these on Facebook Marketplace or eBay and turn it into cash. Let me ask you this. If you had to sell one thing today to get an extra $50 that you desperately needed, what would it be? Number 2, pick up a weekend or an evening side hustle. I've always had 2 or 3 of these my entire life. If you work full time, you don't need to take on another job, but just a few extra hours each week can make a huge difference. Here are some common ideas for fast cash. Rideshare driving like Uber or Lyft, food delivery like DoorDash or Instacart, or freelancing, whether it's writing, graphic design, or working as a virtual assistant. Let's say that you deliver food on Saturday nights and make an extra $100 a week. That's $400 a month or $4,800 a year just from one night of extra work. So let me ask you this. What's one side hustle you could start doing today that fits into your current lifestyle? Number 3, monetize a skill you already have. Do you have a talent or hobby? Well, if you do, it could be making you money. For example, are you good at writing? If so, you can try freelancing or Fiverr or Upwork. Do you love kids? How about babysitting on the weekend? Do you know math? You could tutor students online. Or do you enjoy making crafts? If so, you can sell handmade items on Etsy. That's just a few different examples of how you can turn your talents and hobbies into extra money. So let me ask you this: what one skill do you have that you could turn into extra income? Number 4, use found money to pay off debt faster. Every time you get extra money, throw that money at your debt instead of just spending it. Tax refund, pay off your credit card debt. Bonus from work, knock out a loan. Birthday money, add it to a payment. Throwing extra money at your debt works incredibly fast. Let's say, for example, that you pick up a side hustle that makes you an extra $200 a month. If you put that entire amount towards debt instead of spending it off, you could literally shave off years of debt payments. And by doing so, save thousands of dollars in interest. Debt strategy number 7, use the debt fireball method. There's a new way to pay off debt that combines the best of both worlds. If neither the debt snowball or the debt avalanche approach really feels right to you, there's another method called the debt fireball method. This approach divides your debt into 2 separate categories: spicy debt and mild debt. Spicy debt, this is the debt that's causing you stress. Quite often it's the credit cards or debt that has really high interest rates. Mild debt can be debt that isn't quite as stressful. Perhaps you've even come to terms with the fact that you're going to be paying this off for decades, like in the case of student loans or a mortgage. Quite often these are at lower interest rates. So how do you use it? Well, you want to pay off the spicy debt as fast as possible. This is the debt that's burning a hole in your wallet. Once they're gone, you roll those payments off into that mild debt, which again, isn't keeping you up at night. You're not that worried about it. So whether it's large amounts of debt or highest interest rates, or for some other reason, debt that's causing you stress, what's the one piece of debt you have in your life you want to get rid of the fastest? Debt strategy number 8, negotiate lower interest rates. Did you know that you could pick up the phone and call your credit card company right now and ask for a lower rate? Most people don't even realize that they have the ability to negotiate lower interest rates. If you have a credit card with a high APR, you could save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just by making a simple call. And this is exactly how you ask for a lower interest rate. Call your credit card company and say, pause the video here and write this down. Hi, I've been a customer for X number of years. With the X, mention how many years you've been with that company. And I always make my payments on time. My interest rate is currently at X%. Remember, you've looked up what that percentage is, so you know. So fill that in with your percentage. And I'd love to see if there's anything I can do to lower it. Then you sit back and you be quiet and you wait to hear what they say. And here are some extra tips to make this call even more successful. First, be polite but firm. If they say no, just politely ask to speak to a supervisor. If they won't budge, ask about balance transfer offers that have lower interest rates. And if they don't have anything for you there, you might want to look into other credit card companies that you can transfer your balance over to that does have a lower interest rate. Your credit card company knows that these other companies exist, and they will not want you to move that money over because then they lose out on your payments. If you lower your interest rate, for example, from 24% to 18%, you will save hundreds in interest over the next year without changing your monthly payment. Debt strategy number 9, celebrate milestones. If you're not celebrating the small wins, you're more likely to give up. For many of us, debt payoff is a long journey, and without rewards, it's easy to burn out. Here are some ideas on how to stay motivated. First, track your progress visually. You could use like a debt-free thermometer. Number 2, set small rewards. For every $1,000 you've paid off, treat yourself to something simple, something special. And 3, share your success with a trusted friend, with a family member, or a support group. Come back to this video and tell us in the comments so we can help celebrate those wins with you. For example, I coached a woman who created a visual image of a thermometer where she tracked her debt. That visual image where she was able to color in more of that debt being paid off was so exciting and so motivating for her. So think about those types of visual rewards. So what do you think? And what could you give yourself as a reward for hitting that milestone? And finally, we have debt strategy number 10, and it's very important. Visualize your debt-free future. If you can't imagine and picture and see and taste and feel a debt-free life, you're never going to get there. Visualization isn't just positive thinking, it's science. Studies show that when you can picture success, your brain starts working towards it. So here's how you can visualize your debt-free future. First, write down what being debt-free means for you. Then create a vision board of your ideal financial future, the one you want to have along your debt-free journey. And then look at your debt payoff plan weekly to help yourself stay motivated. Take a minute right now, close your eyes. Imagine what it would feel like to have zero debt, no credit card bills, no car payments, more freedom to save, to invest, and to enjoy life, less financial stress. Doesn't that feel great? What's the first thing you're going to do when you are debt free? Debt can be challenging, debt can be stressful, but you're not alone. Many of us have had tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and there's a way to get out. Save this video, keep it for motivation, revisit these tips. And if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your biggest debt challenge? Drop a comment. Let's talk about it. I'll see you next time.